Hey, I hope everybody's doing well and having a good weekend. Just wanted to kind of do a quick video. I had a few requests about how I now have the Combinator, aka Multiband Compressor, set up in the X-AIR for my the radio audio and going into the Sun SDR2DX. So let's pop over to the X-AIR application and I'll pop out the combinator here real quick. As you can see, and I would recommend that you, excuse me, you do set this up as an insert and put this on your main left and right bus. It's going to work the best if you set it up that way. I would not try to use it in another setting it up, similar to like you would do, say the plate reverb or DS or anything like that. You definitely want to make sure that this thing is set up on your main left and right bus. So with that said, let's pop this guy out real quick and kind of quickly go through the controls. So at the top, the first knob, you have your mix level, and you're going to want to set this at 100%. Following that, you have your attack level. And then following that is your release level. And there's also an automatic release. And you'll note that I am using the automatic release. That little light here is lit up red. Yeah, it's nice. It's not flashing red, but it is lit up red. And then you can turn that on and off by just clicking on it. So we'll turn on the automatic versus the manual release. Following that is your spectrum balance control. This is an automatic feature that would be engaged if you turn on SBC down here. I would recommend not doing that for our purposes. In a studio environment, when you're mastering a track, that may be handy, but I think overall for what we're doing, this may create some issues if this is turned on. So I would recommend leaving it off. Sorry, I think I'm getting a cold. My voice is changing here too. Following the spectrum balance control, you have your crossover, and if you look at this crossover level, this whole top row here, the whole top row and these first two controls on the left on the bottom row, this is all global. So these two and this whole top section, this is all a global setting. So these are not individual per band. I'll show you where those are here in a minute. But the next one over is your crossover range between your frequency groups. So if you notice this, I have it on -10. So my first group is 20 to 80, and then 80 to 200, and continuing up. You can adjust this by moving the mouse, grabbing hold of it and moving the mouse. And if you do that, you'll notice that your ranges here, the areas that are covered underneath those bands, they also change. So that's how you change those. Let me get this back on -10 here. Okay. Following that, you have your global ratio. So I am using a 3-to-1 compression ratio right now. It'll go down to 1-to-1, and then all the way up is limitless, or I guess more of a kind of a limiter effect. So 3-to-1, 4-to-1 is probably going to be the area that is pretty much common. Maybe some 2-to-1 as well. Again, this is all global, so that's where I've got mine set as the 3-to-1, and that was kind of the default, and that seemed to work out pretty well. So the first knob in the bottom row on the left is your global threshold. Remember, this is a global threshold. So this level here is going to be the level that things start to take effect on the bands here, on the multi bands. This is a global setting, and then you have your global um, gain or reduction. This is global. So I left that set at 0, and I found this minus 34 here, and I'll show you how I found that in just a minute. But you're gonna need to adjust this. Then you get into your optional controls here. So again, if you click on this, this turns on the automatic spectrum balance control. The SBC knob here would then take effect and come into play. I'm not going to use that. Again, I would probably really recommend that you leave that turned off. The next one is your dB slope. And by default, this is on 48 dB. Turning it off so that it's not lit up puts us back at a 12 dB option, which for our purposes is probably um, a much better range to work with. So I would, again, on this, I would recommend turning off the 48 dB and putting this on 12. Solo will let you work with individual bands, the frequency groups. So, if I soloed right now, you would hear the 20 to 80 range. That would be the bands that you would work with. So I don't know if that's, I'm kind of curious to see how that would go into OBS. It was, maybe it screwed that up completely, but we'll find out. So that solo button allows you to work with the individual groups here. Bypass, self-explanatory, that will bypass the whole compressor, and you won't have any compression or reduction going on, or boost, because you can boost with this as well. Next section would be your frequency ranges that you're working with. So again, the low in this setup with the way I have my crossover set is the 20 to 80 range. And then my low mids are in my 80 to 200, and it's all self-explanatory. They're all color-coded as you go up. So to adjust the trim control, it would be best to put this into your gain reduction mode. You want to click on these. If you cycle through this area, if you just go over and mouse on it, and then single click, left click will change you through the meter options. So what I ended up doing was went into the gain reduction mode. I think, yeah, it was the gain reduction mode. And just when I started to see a little bit, again, keep in mind, when I started this, everything was at 0. So just when you start to see the lights starting to just barely flicker on one or two of them, that is where you're going to want to adjust that global threshold level to. And that's going to give you the working level for each individual frequency group. So overall, the global level that I have set up is minus 34. Again, this is going to vary on the input level and your individual voice and frequencies that your voice is working with. So after you do that, then you can go to your individuals. Now, when you go into the low, mid, high, mid, and high, these are all individually controlled at this point. These are per frequency grouping. Okay, these are not global anymore. Once you get past this section right here, this is all independently. This area here is all per frequency group or per band. So you have the 5 bands here, hence the 5 frequency groups. Again, all this is, this range is set by your crossover point. So on my low side, I'm taking out 4.5 dB. I am not adding or reducing any reduction there or gain. It's still at 0. I'm just taking out 4 dB. Same with my low mid. Again, another 4.5 dB and no gain or reduction. High mids, I took out a dB, no boost and gain or subtraction from gain. And in my high mids, I've got 2 dB of compression, and I did add 2 dB of boost in my high mid area. So my high mid area, if you look here, um, is roughly the um, just slightly over 1.2. Maybe that's probably closer to the way this is looking. Maybe 1500 to my 5K range. And then when I go out to 8K, my high mids, um, from 5K up, I've got again, um, 2 dB of compression, but I am boosting that at 3 dB. So if you go positive, you can actually enhance that. Negative would cut that area back. Um, so again, keep in mind that everything, because I had this totally screwed up when I first started this. And I know there's been a lot of guys that have asked me for profile, what I was doing with that. And unfortunately, those guys, if you're watching this, the multi-band combinator is not set up right. So take note of this video, and you're probably going to want to make these changes, because once you do that, it will smooth out a lot of this, and it will get rid of a lot of the muddiness that happened to be there, um, with the improper settings on the multi-band compressor, or AKA in the X-AIR series, the dual combinator. So kind of a quick run through with that. Hope that answers a few questions that people have asked me about it and how I actually ended up getting it set up. So again, I hope everybody has a good day, and I'll catch up with you guys here in a bit. I'm going to try to knock out a real quick video for V3 version 0.10.0 here in a couple minutes. So we'll see if I can get these done back to back today. Take care. Thanks for watching.